Namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang today. Muji ji ki jai. It seems to be that kind of day, huh? All right, so I'm hoping you can hear me now. So if this is your first time in Satsang, the way to ask questions is through the chat window. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning. Very good. We were discussing this morning about how the understanding cannot be a personal understanding. If we are still believing that there is a person here who has understood anything at all, then that is not the understanding. The understanding always only is that this person, which I believe myself to be, was never real, is just purely imagined. But this mind will try to claim credit for the understanding now. This mind will say that I have understood that I am awareness. But the mind can never understand that it is awareness. Just like the reflection in the mirror cannot understand what our life is in reality. In the same way, this mind, which is just a play of consciousness, cannot truly understand consciousness or awareness. You see? So, what starts off as a personal journey of understanding, the personal journey of freedom, ultimately must end with this person being confronted, this person being seen to be false, and our belief getting completely divested from this identity. And this person, this mind, is always in a rush to proclaim its understanding. And even when it says, I do not understand anything, it is usually trying to convey that it has understood everything. So it's really not in the words actually. And if you see that this is happening, then it is nothing to feel guilty about. It has to play out in this way. But my job seems to be to point it out. Because if we end prematurely the search here with just a personal understanding, with just a personal understanding, then it will not be the end of satsang. In this seeming journey, it must go from person to presence, from people to being. That's why we are not a sangha of people. We are the sangha of being. And we can check for the symptoms, isn't it? If there is still a need to convince, or if there is still a need to impress, and the need to convince usually comes from the fact that something is doubting our own freedom actually. There is no need to convince the master. The master already completely knows that you are free. So there is no need to convince the master. But it is your own doubt, your own self doubt, which conveys itself in this way with the need to convince anyone. It could be the master, it could be your family, it could be all your loved ones. What you truly are is unconcerned. It is unconcerned about freedom also. Your true self knows that the one who is asking for freedom, needing freedom, or even proclaiming freedom is not you. So when we say that the spiritual ego is trying to convince others, actually I feel more that it is its own lingering self doubt that it is trying to get over. If you did not doubt your freedom at all, if you completely did not doubt your freedom at all, then who would you need to convince about it? Namaste, namaste everyone. You have seen now that there was no one here who was bound. There was nobody here who can be bound or could have been bound. And if that one did not exist, then who is the one that is free from bondage? Shine says, is there something, is there such a thing as a spiritual thought? Sometimes getting through but seen. There is no such thing as a spiritual thought. You see? But if you're talking about the intuitive voice, which has a different qualitative feel about it, and what is the way to differentiate between a thought and this intuitive communion? It is to see that intuition is always accompanied by the presence of love, peace, and joy. And a thought is accompanied by a need. Therefore, in the Course in Miracles, there's a beautiful inquiry, which is to look at what is emerging as a thought and asking, what is it for? What is this for? Yes. Lunai says, there is no need to convince anyone about freedom. Very good. But there is some sort of urge to share. Yes. It is like, wow, wow, wow. Yes. This is amazing. This is, and in a wise sharing, more veils disappear. Yes. So you can smell actually. You can smell where something is coming from. And if it is coming from the place of need, from a place to convince, then it is still smelling of the same guy, the ego. But if it is coming from a pure place of just love, then it is beautifully auspicious. Mhm. And I have no intention of policing this because I know that all of this is a play of consciousness itself. So I have no intention of policing this or even pointing out where something is coming from. It is just for you to check from your own inquiry to see for yourself. I am completely certain of only one thing, that there is only one true self, and we are that. Shinin says this spiritual thought is always reassuring itself. So we'll look at this. No? And Zoe says, thank you for your gentle grace, Father. Very welcome, my dear. You see? So, without a thought, in this moment, right now, all of you are free. In this moment, all of you are free. And you can only pretend to be bound. You can only pretend to be bound by believing a thought. So let's experiment with this. See that you are completely free right now. And the pretending of bondage can happen through the belief in the thought which is coming. So, with complete integrity, we can do this now to see that there is pure freedom here, and the pretending will start with the next thought that you believe. See for yourself which thought still has this juice to make you pick it up. And if you feel strong enough, you can expose it in the chat window. You can expose it in the fire of satsang. Because freedom, you see, does not require too many words. So, what if we were to stop talking now and see that there is full freedom already? And then we give a belief to a thought or to any appearance, and we start playing the game of bondage again. So, let's start from this perspective of freedom and see which thought still has the juice that you are compelled to believe it. And before we do that, I'll quickly catch up with the chat. Ishani says, Fathers, talking about sharing, just till last week, there was this energy to share. Now that is gone. And everything is just seeming so beautifully ordinary, yes. And there is so much freedom in this seeing, yes. And this energy to share might come back, and then it might go again. But the pure seeing that you are is untouched by this energy. So, in this way, you are enjoying everything that is coming and leaving. And actually, everything that is coming is leaving anyway. Atma says true. And Ishani says, sharing also is not by me here anymore. Yes, yes, yes. It is seen that it is never by this me. Exactly. Hans says, thoughts have a tendency to bind? Question. The question is, thoughts have a tendency to bind? Nothing can actually bind us. Nothing can actually bind us, and we have never been bound. We pretend to play this game of person when we believe the thoughts which are coming, because all thoughts are meant for the person. You see? So when we believe a thought, we are believing the identity of personhood, because the thought is only talking to the person. And without this belief, there can be no nurturing of the person idea, and the person idea cannot survive. Aryev says it takes vigilance to not believe any thought. Yes, it seems that way initially, but it feels as though thoughts can come and go. Exactly. So, what will happen is that initially it will seem like we have to constantly police. This is coming, I'm not believing it. This is coming, I'm not believing it. It seems like we have to guard this constantly. See? Then we see that naturally it is happening. It is happening naturally. But there will still be that one in a thousand thoughts which might have some juice. And then the vigilance comes back. And that is why it is beautiful when suffering arises, because it shows us that maybe some thought got missed and got picked up, the belief because of some old conditioning, and this one still has some juice. And then so vigilance goes from being this constant policing to just this simple watching. If there is some suffering arising, then we see what God believed in, and that is let go of. It becomes a very simple process. So it ceases to seem like hard work, and the natural state is completely full of this freedom of not having to police also. So vigilance starts by becoming this constant seeming watching to see, realizing that it is our natural state to not pick up any thoughts, and all thoughts are coming and going. And then when something seems to be arising with some bite, then we can look again and let it go. So vigilance, which starts off as a seemingly active doing, actually is seen to be just the natural flow of things. Lunai says, thoughts about my children, if they suffer, they all have the juice. Yes. Because these are now the most primal conditioning. This is now children, close relationships is the most primal conditioning, isn't it? And this is being exposed now, and you can trust that everything is consciousness itself. Your children are also consciousness itself. So all will be taken care of. It does not need to rely on a thought. All actions as a mother or a parent will continue in their own auspicious way. The self does not need to rely on thoughts to be a good parent or a good relationship. But don't expect it to go the way the mind defines it. Because many will say that you said it will all be auspicious, and I was expecting only good things to happen. So that is still a mind's expectation that it should go in a particular way. It doesn't happen that way. So Kapil says thoughts related to work and future related insecurity, judgment about what others said or did to me. Very good, very good. It's good to see this, you see. And if you're able to just let it go without any belief, then they can be let go of. Now that you've noticed it, that they have some juice, maybe they can be just let go of. But if they seem to reoccur, if they seem to reoccur over and over again, then we can do a little bit of inquiry about it. You can bring this thought in front of you, say it bothers something when someone is rude to me or behaves badly. And we can ask, who is this me that gets affected by it? So in this recurring thought pattern, life is trying to show you some area of attachment which still seems to be strong. It could be even to the concept that everyone should be nice, or nobody should be rude to me, or that I am a good person. You see, all these subtle concepts can still remain, but life will continue to do its job, especially through these recurring thought patterns. So if you find that something is let go of, but it comes back, it's let go of and it comes back. So if it continues to rotate like this, then you can shine the light of your own self on this and see what is it that is getting affected, which concepts are still being believed, and these concepts will be let go of because of this seeing. Very good. Cornelia says, Namaste, Father, Namaste, Sangha. Late today, no worries. Okay, let's see where we are. Atma says, it is left before it came, seems like that. Yes, then it's just getting released. All these thought patterns, if they're just coming and going, and if it's not strongly recurring, then we don't need to do anything at all, just let it go. Lunai says, it is weird since I was never the one to take care of them anyway, but they are my twig in the sand. Yes. If this is clearly seen, then all the juice and bite will quickly go. In fact, we can say it is already gone. Han says, thank you, Father. Thank you so much, my dear. Thank you. Ginger says, shame and arrogance still have juice. And you can look at these specific thought patterns and see what they are pointing you towards. They are pointing you to a misbelief that you still carry about yourself. It could even be something like a misbelief that you or another was the doer of their action. It should presume that somebody exists as a separate person. So we can look at this as a beautiful mirror, which is pointing us towards what is still being held on to. It's very good. Shinin says, when the seeker catches a thought to verify its understanding or seemingly trying to hold on to knowledge wisdom, this has juice, yes. If you're trying to grasp onto some understanding, or there's a need to become a jnani, no need to become a learned master, a need to become a learned person, all this also will be washed away. You are already completely complete. The whole universe takes birth inside you. You are the one who has defined this whole play, which gets projected in the light of consciousness. What knowledge would you require? What must you need to know now? It's very good that you're able to spot this and expose it, and you see it is coming from a personal place and it can be let go of. And is there a more beautiful example than Sri Maharaj Nisargadatta, who was just a simple, uneducated man? Simple and uneducated man who used to sell these small cigarettes called BDs in a small shop in Mumbai. completely uneducated, and when he saw the truth for himself, then the words that emerged from his mouth were pure scripture. It did not need to rely on any intellectual knowledge or understanding. The words just emerge on their own from this intuition itself. And it is seen that this body only becomes an instrument for this intuition to communicate. Zoe says, let it be that my words and my actions all come from grace, not from an imaginary person construct. It is a beautiful prayer. Yeah, very good. Let thy will be done is a beautiful prayer. Very good. Jaini says, thought related to trying to get it. Yes, trying to get it. But this is just a habit. Also, thoughts related to body and children. Yes, it's very good that this is seen now. All are given to you, Father. Thank you so much. It's very good. In fact, even if you can start with this simple perspective that right now, in the moment, there is only freedom here, complete freedom here. Because the thought will convince you that you are not free and need to get somewhere to become free, or you need to understand something to become free. That is the trick of the mind. This is very beautiful. Aryev says, so this is what Eckhart Tolle means to be in the present. Means be in the present, being in the now, to not pick up the thoughts. Yes, I would say yes, because otherwise, when I was reading many years ago, The Power of Now, what would happen is there would be a forcible attempt to try and stay in the now. And it seemed like a lot of effort trying to stop thoughts from coming, to try and restrain feeling any emotion, to just be in this very stiff state of trying to be in the now. Yes, but what he is actually referring to is this very natural state of every moment unfolding so beautifully. Inside the ever present now, all this is unfolding very beautifully, and as we let go of our thoughts, then we are constantly in the now, because it is only the thoughts which are taking us to the past or projecting the future. Yes. Louise says, Father, I am noticing most thoughts these days are thoughts offering help to find truth. And these have been given belief to be important thoughts, noticing that they are just the same thing. Yes. All that is coming from the mind space can be let go of. You see? So if there's a genuine compassion arising from the heart, which means accompanied by the presence of love, with no need to be seen as the one who wants to help. Because if it is coming from the mind, then you will see there will be a need around it, the need to help, or the need to be seen as the one who wants to help. But if it is coming from the pure perspective of intuition itself, that means then the Sadguru has started using the body mind which is there as an instrument for itself. So if it is coming from this beautiful space of neutrality, then there is nothing wrong. If it is coming with the presence of love, peace, and joy, then it is completely okay to follow this sense of wanting to help to spread the truth. But if it is coming from a place of needing something, wanting to prove something, then it can very simply be let go of. Okay, my chat is jumping around way too much today. Let's see. Jaini says, any thought that has juice is a great teacher in revealing where identity is still playing. Very good. Yes, exactly. So, actually, very grateful as ego can be very subtle and insidious at times. Very beautiful words. Yes, completely. Yes. That's why we say that all that this is emerging is also so much grace. It's very beautiful. Louis says, noticing the belief in them diminishing. Yes. Thoughts, and they let go of, with the belief let go of, then even attention to them will start diminishing. It's very good. SLA Brahm, sorry, I'm not pronouncing correctly, says thoughts of body and security. Yes, it's very good to notice this, and then you can ask, whose body is this? If I have seen now that there is no person here, and the presence of beingness alone is, then this body must belong to this presence, must belong to this consciousness, to this God. Therefore, whose body is this? Is it not God's own body? The entire phenomenal universe is God's body. That is one way to look at it. The entire phenomenal universe is God's body. So let whose body it is take care of it. That one is taking care of it. But remember to not do or not do. You see, in both the doing or the not doing, we have this false belief of doership. When you decide to not do, that is also doership. When you decide to do, that is also doership. So you be constantly in a state of neutrality, and if consciousness feels, then consciousness will see the state of the body or will play it out in such a way basically that the body gets whatever it requires. But don't let any event convince you that you are the body. You be completely neutral, and sometimes, if the body requires, then you will find the body walking towards the doctor. You'll see that you are just the pure witnessing of all of this. There is no you here, which is the doer of anything at all. So let God take care of the body. It is His body anyway. Ginger says, reoccurrence of fear that I will be, and something got censored, I will be something, space, natural slash beautiful, sharing is followed by shame, as thought suggests that I was arrogant. It's madness. Upon inquiry, it is seen that it isn't for me, though. Yes, it isn't for you. In reality, you can never be arrogant. Can being ever be arrogant or humble? Can any attribute be attached to you? Can awareness ever be anything, any quality, any attribute? So when you say that it is seen that it isn't for you, it's completely true. Don't rely on any mind judgments about you. It is the same thing. The proclamation and the judgment are both the same, both untrue. See? Kapil says, thank you, my dear. Naomi says, agreed. Thoughts of children have most juice. Yes. And I am doing things right, bringing this into the fire. And am I doing things right? Yes. Yes. This is most primal conditioning, isn't it? Thoughts of children, thoughts of family. When you let go, you will find that all is being taken care of. All actions will happen as they are meant to. That's very good. Shine thank you, thank you. Aryev says, for me, it's the feeling of responsibility for nears and dears. Friends, family, and even society at large consumes me. When someone is suffering around me, I get consumed by all sorts of worries. And this is the mind will say that unless you listen to me, you are not helping others. Firstly, understand that the best way to help the world is first to be free from your own suffering completely. And then you will become a light and a beacon which will get others, the seeming others, freedom from their suffering. Don't go with the mind's presumption that it knows how to help another. How do we know? How do we know whether giving money to another will really help? How do we know even to give emotional support to another will truly help? Maybe they were close to becoming the Buddha. Maybe something in them would have exploded and they would have become the Buddha himself in the next 10 minutes before we distracted them with our help. So, first see that the mind does not know anything at all. And when this mind is let go of, then it is just consciousness which is completely seen to be doing all the actions anyway. God's love does not require your intervention, or more specifically, the intervention of your thoughts. God's love does not require the intervention of your thoughts to take care of itself. So, when it is done with this sense of freedom, then you will find that either pride for helping another or guilt for not helping another cannot arise. But if you continue to do from the personal perspective, it plays out in the way that you do not escape these monkeys of pride and guilt. Lunai says, at Muji retreat, when person disappeared completely, pneumonia arose. Yes, person showed up again. Now, when veils are very thin, severe infection in the mouth has arisen. This also has some juice. Yes. So, if this is happening, then it is exposing whatever little body identity might still be there. But your thoughts will not help you to take care of the instrument called the body. So if you let go of your thoughts, you might find that you find yourself suddenly in the doctor's clinic or in the hospital. And even that is seen. There will be no resistance. Also, there will not be this concept. For many of you, you have this concept that being spiritually free means the body must now not get any pain or no disease should happen. And worse could be that you feel that these are signs that you're not free. For many of you, it might work in this way. So, when this body pain, this body infections, disease, something shows up, then also no need to rely on any thought. But the mind will say, but if you don't rely on any thought, then what is going to happen to your body? You just see that all actions will unfold exactly how they are meant to. Don't decide to do or to not do. Don't decide that I will not go to the doctor because now I am free. See? Atma says, true father, all you say is confirmed here in me. All you say is confirmed here in me. Love you, father. I love you too, my dear. Good. Claire says, dear Ananta, there is a deathly kind of anti life feeling that is often there on awaking in the morning. Can I give it to you? And I allow it to. It is already going. Very good. Thank you. Yes. All can be given to me. All is my problem. I am happy to take all of this. Very good. Yes. And many of you actually have been reporting these dark feelings, dark energies. No? Don't worry, they are all nothing but variants of the same guy, the same ego. It's trying to convince you of its reality. But now you are far beyond this. You see that you are completely untouched by this. It's completely good to say it is my master's problem to deal with. Jenny says, also giving you all ideas of trying to do things right. Very good. Especially in terms of being a good enough mother. Old patterns of conditioning, but there is no mother or child, only consciousness. Yes. Only it is seen that only consciousness is here, and yet all roles can continue in their own beautiful way. Very good. Denon says, many recurring thoughts of illness and death, shining light on attachment to believing I am the body. Very good. That I want life to go a particular way. Yes, very good. Into the fire. Very good. See, you are the supreme intelligence. You are the supreme intelligence. The trickster is not more intelligent than you. And when it is truly freedom what we want, we've had enough of this game, then all the trickster's tricks can actually point us to our own freedom. So, in this way, like you said, the trickster's trick is to try and keep you deluded as the person by giving you thoughts about illness, about death, about the body, about wanting life to go in a particular way. But now you, consciousness, as the supremely intelligent one, are seeing that none of this actually applies to me. And therefore leading you to the simple looking of your own true self. And in this way, you have tricked the trickster itself in this wonderful game. Very good. Louise says, Father, it feels so simple. Just lose this trust in the mind. Yes, it is that simple. Very good. Ishani says, Thank you, Father. Thank you, my dear. Very good. Aryav says, Thank you, dear Ananta. Much appreciated. Very welcome, my dear. Jyoti says, Something I have heard you say, and maybe some other masters too, is that the body is made up of the food you eat. I find this even hard to believe as don't see any evidence of this. My body is much like the dream body and just seems to remain the same and nothing to do with food or anything. Yes, yes, yes. So when a questioner is coming from a belief in the phenomenal world perspective, then the answer comes in this way, that you believe that you are the body, and you believe that the food is real, the world is real, the objects are real. But then in this case, the body must be made up only of the food that you eat from a phenomenal perspective. See, and just immediately when that is said, something says that this cannot be true. That I cannot be that which is just made up of this food that I eat. So we are not actually, there is no truth that is coming in response to a question. See, we're just using other thorns to pull out the thorn of misidentification, and then both can be thrown away. So we're not answering the question actually, we are answering the questioner more. See, at times it is not helpful to say, many times we say when we feel that there is this resonance in the questioner, but on other times we will say that yes, body is made up of the food you eat, can you be the body? Another time I will say in the dream also you have a body. What is the difference between that body and this body? And to someone else, I might say that none of this has ever happened at all. It just seems to be part of the play and seems to operate on the openness or the resonance that exists with the questioner. There is no truth in anything which is being spoken. Very good. Atma says, all can be used for freedom. Yes, Father, yes. Thank you so much, he says. Thank you to Jenny says, truly all is grace. Yes, truly all is grace. Claire says, okay, it's difficult to read today. Thank you for taking all this stuff from us, stuff in quotes. I am really grateful and I give you all guilt and fear. Very good. Very good. Deenan says, thank you, Ananta.